Hello folks, John here with a quick update on my Alfa Romeo 4C. And those of you who are struggling for time, I can save you a lot of time by quickly saying
the last few weeks have been a bit a little bit can't do it.
It's currently in a garage at an Alfa Romeo specialist being repaired, having been flatbed trailered into the garage yesterday. For those of you who are sticking around for a bit more detail, I know I'm going to get comments from quite a few people who are going to say to me, "You should have stuck with a German car, it's far more reliable. Why did you do it? It's obvious when you buy Italian it's going to go wrong." To be honest, yes, I absolutely agree with that, and to a degree I am pretty frustrated right now with this Alfa Romeo 4C. Mainly because it hardly goes anywhere. It's done less than 10,000 miles in 4 years. It's kept in a very nice garage. It doesn't get any exposure to any bad weather, always gets serviced on time, and is always on a battery charger. So I didn't really expect to have any major problems, because any of the cars I've had in the past, which includes Lotus, not only one Lotus but several Lotuses, including the Esprit, the Elise, the Exige, all these Lotuses which are generally renowned for not being very reliable, never had a problem with any of them. But as a friend of mine pointed out recently, to be fair, I never kept them as long as I've kept the Alfa Romeo. This is the longest I've ever kept a sports car, so maybe it's just statistically average that I'm going to get a problem with it at some point. So, quick background then. A few months ago I started to get a problem which I called the gear unavailable error, which started normally only when it was cold and when you were cold starting the car. That went on, if you look back at my videos, it got progressively worse to happening every time I started the car, and then it was fine when I was driving it, and then it got ultimately to the point where I just had a major gearbox failure while I was actually driving the car. So I put that on YouTube, appealed for help to see if anyone could help me out, and I did get a lot of replies generally saying try changing the battery for a new battery, which was a good idea because the battery was already 4 years old and you probably should replace the battery over that time. So I put a brand new Bosch S5 battery in, and I am going to upload the video of the process for that. A guy from the Automobile Association came along, fitted it, tested the alternator, and the car was absolutely fine. It did go in to be MOT'd, which is the Ministry of Transport test that we do here in the UK, after the guy from the AA had fitted the battery, and it passed its test 100%, absolutely fine, drove perfectly, continued to drive perfectly for about 3 or 4 days. And then I came to use the car literally this week and just couldn't get the transmission to engage at all. Nothing. All I got was the consistent gear unavailable, transmission error, just consistent. I just couldn't get the thing to engage at all. So my first step was I went and bought a OBD port reader to see if I could find out a little bit more information about why the transmission failure was happening. See if I could get something a bit deeper so I could at least ring the dealer and say this is what's happening. Plugged it in and got a reading from that OBD port which basically told me what I already knew. So I was completely stuck, and the only option I had now was to contact some Alfa Romeo dealers to see if they could help. I started off initially contacting Alfa Romeo themselves. I went on to their actual website for Europe and the UK and reported the fault to see if they could give any guidance or perhaps any support for the cost of fixing it. They automatically routed me through to my local Alfa Romeo dealer, and they didn't call me at all. They didn't reply. I also emailed twice to the dealer who has always serviced the car. I sent them 2 emails saying, could I get the car booked in, if I can get it trailered down, what dates have you got available, this is the problem I'm having, and they didn't reply to either of the emails. So then I went on an internet search looking to try and find any dealer who was an Alfa Romeo specialist, and as they say, every cloud has a silver lining, and I did actually find an Alfa specialist who actually raced Alfas, who were only about 20 odd miles from where I live, which was absolutely amazing. I didn't even know they were there. I rang them up, they picked up the phone straight away. I discussed the problem with them and they said, yeah, absolutely, get the car over to us, we can look at it and fix it. So the next challenge was, how do I get the car over to NJS to get it fixed? And I obviously needed a flatbed trailer to get the car even moved. And I remembered once again that I was a member of the Automobile Association. So once again I called them out. The first thing they did was they sent a guy out to actually do a proper OBD port reading to properly assess what the problem was. He's doing it. What we found was there was a much more detailed report accessible from the OBD port that isn't accessible from the device I bought. They found that it had a hydraulic pump failure. We're going to have to organise a flatbed trailer. There we go. So what we've done is we've put the towing eye in there, the official towing eye and hook. There we go. That's it. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Perfect. That was whilst we blocked all the traffic in the road, trying to get the car onto the trailer. It did take a bit longer than I thought, and people were very patient in the area. Thank you anyone who's watching for being so patient. And if we blocked you in for a little while, I did apologise to a few people for that. And now the car has been trailered over to NJS, which is where it is now. And I'm sitting waiting with some trepidation as to what the actual problem is, and more importantly, how much it's going to cost me to get it fixed. And that leaves me with one other major problem. It's one last problem I have with the 4C. You see, I'd be very tempted now to just sell it. And in fact, I rang a couple of car dealers yesterday who were more than keen to buy the car off me. Obviously because it's a peak period for buying sports cars, and because it's a really rare car, it's holding its value extremely well. But even when I look at it sat there on a flatbed trailer, I absolutely love it. And that is the problem, because I think if it was any other car this time now, I would be getting it fixed, getting it serviced and selling it because of the frustrations I'm having. But I'm going to persevere. I will keep you posted and let you know what happens. I'll let you know what NJS say, what the problem is and what the cost of fixing it is. Just keep watching, I'll keep you updated and stay safe. Thanks for watching, catch you soon.